Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Late Night with Colin. It's been a few years since our last broadcast, but we're finally here, and we got a great show lined up for you. First off, I'd like to, say rest in peace to Ozzy Osbourne, legend in the music community, died earlier this week. Rest in peace, to the Prince of Darkness. I'd also like to say rest in piss to Hulk Hogan, who also died this week. Yeah, fuck him.
Yeah.
But this could be a great show. We got a big interview coming up. Our special guest today is Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu. Just kidding. That's the Nelk Boys.
I was like, I don't know how to play into this bit. I don't think I should. My best option is silence.
But no, for real. We got a big interview. We had him on last time. We have him here tonight for his new release, Cyclicism.
Yeah.
Welcome to the show, Plaintive.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. It is me, Plaintive. And I must say, I think your show must have had a few budget cuts since the last time I came on, because I remember like a whole set when I was sitting down last time. There was a nice interview space and everything, and now I got all dressed up, and then you're like, oh, we're doing it on Discord now, and I'm like, okay. So I'm just wearing the most expensive suit I could find, and because I wanted to be appropriate for your show. But you know what? The energy is still going to emanate from it, and I will cope.
As you did last album, but I've been coping as well, because we're on Discord now because CBS canceled the show.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, so I stand with Stephen Colbert in his struggle as well. But
yeah, one too many comments about Trump on this podcast, I guess.
I guess so.
Yeah.
But I stand for the truth, and the truth is, Cyclicism's great. You did a great job with this EP. Very excited to talk about it. Very excited to ask you some questions about the process and about just the overall experience. But
hell yeah.
It's thank you for coming back on again. You want to just jump into these questions?
Yeah, thank you for having me. And I'm all good whenever you are, sir.
Perfect. All right. Well, I asked this question last time around, of course, but I know you're just a freak for the time signatures, Plaintive. So, just wanted to ask you this time, how many different time signatures do you think are on Cyclicism, like off the top of your head, or if you know them by heart?
Yeah, I can just talk at it. The last time you asked me this, I became a little freak. And I think I took out a whole sheet of paper and like started tallying them up or something.
Sure.
I sure did. But it's an easier answer this time around. Because one of the things I wanted to do with this album EP is to kind of, I don't want to say like dumb it down, but like make it a little more accessible, like some of the songs to an extent. And part of that was it's a little less theatrical, and because of that there's a little bit less of that kind of stuff, even though I have a deep love for it. But the entirety of Open Up is in 5/4, and but that's really about it, though, when it comes to odd time signatures. I restrained myself a little bit on this one. All of Open Up is in 5/4. Everything else is just in 4/4, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, everything else is in 4/4. There's like a one-off bar of 2/4 in what's my own song called? I've been in a rut. I definitely have not just woken up. It is late night with Colin.
Yep.
Um, in I've been in a rut. There's a one-off bar of like 2/4, just like so that the instrumental can be extended a little bit longer after the bridge.
Mhm.
But yeah, yeah, no, it's but but one thing I can say though as well with Open Up being entirely in 5/4, that's also kind of a first because on Coping Mechanism, it was mostly like a lot of the times when I would do the odd time signatures, I wouldn't commit to it for an entire song. So
Mhm.
like I guess the best example of that would be Buried, which is also almost completely in 5/8, but then then it gets put into 6/8 at the end of the song just because it's like it's like a relief or something. Like it's supposed to kind of make it feel like it sounds steady now or something like that. I did a lot of those
Mhm.
types of things on the last album. So like this is the first time I've released a track that's like entirely in an odd time signature from like the first notes you hear to the last notes you hear. 5/4.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Was that like a challenging thing, or was it just like did it come naturally to such a musical genius?
Why? Oh my gosh. um,
Hey.
um uh well it's been a little while since I've written that song now. I'm trying to call back to that. Because the way that song started out was just the opening lyrics. That I never thought I'd say it, nor would the day come when you'd open up the
Mhm.
floodgates, let your secrets come undone. Um, those are the lyrics to it, and I think I just kind of, I don't know, I was trying to figure out a pattern to those lyrics, like some, no pun intended. I was trying to figure out, a way to get those words to fit into something, and that's just kind of the rhythm that I came up with, and that rhythm was in 5. And then I was like, all right, let's just make the song in 5. and then and then I did. Actually, the only part that was kind of difficult for me is the very ending of the song. Not just because it's singing high towards the end of
Mhm.
there, um, but the rhythms of that part in particular are a little strange. They aren't necessarily as natural. Like I really like the way that they're in the song, but it was a little hard for me to get the timing down when I was actually recording it. Um, and yeah, so I guess that part was a little difficult to put
Mhm.
together. Just that ending section. But yeah, no, it was a good time. I like 5. 5 is
Yeah,
a good time to shoot.
my favorite number.
Yeah. All
Um,
right.
yeah. But yeah, cool, very cool. Thanks
Yeah.
for delving into that.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of cool synth work across
Hmm.
the tracks on this album EP.
Hmm.
Um, what was it like delving into that area in comparison to what you used for coping mechanism?
Oh, that's a good question. Um, yeah, the synths are a little bit more pronounced on this one than Coping Mechanism. That was also kind of a conscious choice. A little less
Mhm.
strings and stuff on this one, and more electronic, synthy type of stuff. Um, what was exactly the question again? Did you just want me to talk about the synths?
Just yeah, just like
All
what
right.
was it? What was it like? Just like using that kind of more pronounced synth work rather than like
Yeah.
the strings and the classical stuff that you did on the last
Yeah.
project.
Yeah, I mean it's a nice thing for me. I mean when I'm working in Ableton, which is just like a music creation app, producing app, I should say. I shouldn't even really. I mean, I guess it's an app. I don't know.
Hmm.
It's a very expensive app. But in there, most of the stuff like is catered for electronic stuff. I mean, everything I do is electronically produced in the first place.
Right.
So in some ways, it makes things a little easier because I know that was a big thing on Coping Mechanism was I was doing my damnedest to make everything sound as real as I possibly could with electronic instruments, and I do that still a little bit on here, like with most of the drums. I was trying really hard to make them sound as real as I could,
Yeah.
and
Did a good job.
yeah, some of those turned out really well on this project. But it was the synths are allows me to not really worry about that aspect as much and then just worry about like the actual timbre and atmosphere of each of the synths and how they fit into the mix and all that kind of stuff. So
Mhm.
even something like, open up, having that, I remember you described it once as it sounds like the opening to or the main menu music on like the Wii or whatever.
Oh yeah,
The,
yeah,
that
yeah.
type of that type of ringing synth that the track opens up with, no pun intended again.
Mhm.
And yeah, having things like that, just like making atmosphere with it, and like just the sweeping synths throughout that track as well too, like the growing pads and all that kind of stuff. Like I really love that type of sound, and I didn't really get to explore that as much on Coping Mechanism, just because it didn't really fit with the sound of that.
Mhm.
So getting to work with those things, which is another thing I love to do in a lot of my, I mean, you've heard a lot of like little tracks that I've made for song challenges and
Yeah.
whatnot, and I think that I do that kind of synthy stuff a lot, and I enjoy doing that synthy stuff a lot. So it's kind of nice to be able to put those into songs as well, or like healing song, opening up with like a minute and a half of like
Mhm.
a fake organ and a bunch of synth sounds of really ambient stuff. Like
Yeah,
it's just
it's a great
nice.
atmosphere.
Yeah, yeah. It's just really nice being able to lean into that a little bit more. And yeah, I think those types of sounds also work well with the album cover as well too. I think
Mhm.
it
I think so too.
feels synthy. So yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, very cool. I liked a lot of the synth work across the record. There was I'm forgetting which song it was. It might have been the second song, but
Hmm.
there's like a pretty big synth section, I would say.
Oh yeah.
It's somewhere in there, but it was like, it just like it creates such a cool environment.
Yeah. I guess it's another
Yeah,
thing I should have mentioned is, yeah, that's okay has an entire like synth bass presence to most of it
yeah,
as well too. So yeah, but
yeah. It's really cool, and I really liked it. So,
yeah, sick.
um, but yeah, another thing I really liked were the vocals across the whole project. I think that you've really um become very much more confident on the mic, and you
Oh
feel like you're really going for it a
yeah.
lot across a lot of this record, and I really appreciated that, really liked it. But there's also some really cool like vocal layering throughout
Mm-hmm.
a lot of this
Mm-hmm.
as well, and some of those moments were my favorites across the whole thing. Um, and I was just, I was wondering what other, cool production techniques you've gained in the last few years and you employed uh, throughout the EP.
Yeah, that's a good question. Because I with coping mechanism, if I remember correctly, I didn't really like I was kind of learning Ableton as I was making that
Mhm.
project. Like I did like a whole session of learning quote unquote Ableton before that, but then like actually getting, real world experience was making coping mechanism a bit. So and now I've worked on a lot of little projects and stuff. So like this time it's more confident, I guess, some of the mixes and production and stuff like that. Um, yeah, I mean, I guess working with the synths is one thing with that. Knowing how to look for sounds and how to manipulate them how I want to and
Mhm.
get the exact type of stuff. And then, adding some other elements as well too into the mix, like acoustic guitar is kind of new for this record as well. I think the bass lines I did a little bit better on this time as well too. There's a lot of I think every song has an interesting bass part going for it.
Mhm.
Um, and sorry, I keep forgetting the exact question that you're asking me.
Oh, it's
That's
okay.
my bad.
It's just like the new like production techniques that
New
you've
production
employed or gained
techniques.
since over the past couple years since Coping Mechanism came out.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So I mean, yeah, I was answering it. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
but like you also brought up with like the vocals as well. Like there's a lot of vocal layering on here. Like I'm trying to remember if there was any like really huge vocal layering things I did on Coping Mechanism. I think Petals had some like towards the end of it, like in the climax of that song. Um, but
Banger, by the way.
thank you. Legitimately, thank you. That's for you. um, um, but like Healing Song has a lot of really thick layering, vocal layering on it. The most that I've done, especially like in that first chorus. Like there's a lot of like background noises that kind of sound like synths, but it's really just my voice like reverb the hell out. And
Mm,
like it'll do harmonies with itself, and then I'll do like this giant dissonant chord, like in like the loud part during the middle of that song. Like that, I want to say that had like 10 to 12 vocals just like stacked onto one thing. And there's a lot of stuff that goes along with mixing that, and then the whole outro to that song too is very
mm,
vocal um based, and you know, layers and whole bunch of stuff. There was a lot going on Healing Song.
mm.
But yeah, what else was new on this one? Um, let's see. I'm just looking at the track list, trying to remember my songs. Um, oh yeah, I guess a pattern has a bit of it too. Like I kind of wanted to make the production a little trippy, a little bit during the bridge. So there's some
Mm,
weird sounds going on in there, and like the snare and the drums and stuff is getting like a little distorted and like a little funky and stuff. That was probably a little inspired by like Imaginal Disc and stuff. Just that really
mm,
strange, kind of trippy type production, something that's atmospheric, and then like those just like weird noises that turn into like trumpet sounds a little bit. um, it's that was pretty new for this. I don't think I did anything that kind of weird and trippy on Coping Mechanism, but
mm.
yeah,
Yeah,
I think that's kind of all I can think of at the moment.
cool.
Yeah.
I know that you had your grandpa play a guitar on n- one of the
Mhm.
songs on the last record. Were you playing all your own instruments for as well as like the the electronic like production and
Mm.
everything? Were you playing like your own physical instruments for the whole thing, or did you have belt this time around?
Um, just to clarify, for Coping Mechanism, it wasn't my grandpa who played on the track. He was originally
Oops.
supposed he was originally supposed to, and he helped me find someone to help play
Oh
guitar
yeah, yeah, yeah.
on that song. Um, and he helped like record it and stuff. But anyways, yeah, yeah, no, this is pretty much 100% me this time around. Coping Mechanism also had my friend Vanessa playing bass on Four Leaf Clover.
Mm,
And she helps out with some bass writing on Healing Song, because
mm,
I was having some trouble writing bass parts for the verses of that song. I wasn't entirely sure how to get like, I don't know, because a lot of Healing Song is like, oh, there's this giant intro, and then things like gradually pick themselves up from that intro. And I was like trying to figure out how I wanted to incorporate the bass in those verses. And she wrote some parts for it, and then I also had some ideas based off of her parts. And so like what's in the actual song is kind of like an amalgamation of our ideas for the bass lines.
mm.
Um, but I played all of the bass on that. She didn't play this time around, and but she did write a little bit. But other than that, no, it's 100% me on this one.
Cool.
All
Very
me all
awesome.
the time. Yeah,
Talented man here.
I
Um,
suppose.
I also I really love a lot of the lyrical work on here. I was wondering what some of your favorite lyrics are. I
Mm,
really like personally the switch up from heal Heal to heal
yeah,
Heel for in
yeah,
the last line of a healing song. Pretty cool.
yeah.
Just use of that.
I mean, I mean, I know you know anyone who watches. Well, maybe not. I don't know how much I do it on the podcast. Actually, I feel like I do it mostly in like my messages. But I am a big. I do love wordplay stuff like that,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I don't think I've. I think the closest I've come to representing that in my music is having the songs "honest" and then "honest," comma two.
Mm.
I think that's the closest I've gotten to doing the same thing. But yeah, no, I really like that one too. Um, what are some lyric highlights? So let me. I gotta think a little bit. I wish I had like. I'm gonna kind of look through all my songs one by one to make sure. Actually, you know what? Okay, well, hold on. I'm trying to think of what the best way for doing. Yeah, I'm just gonna do this. Um, so like open up. Where is my own note for this. Excuse me. Okay. Um, well, one of the things that happened a lot on this project, and like kind of with a lot of my songs in general, is I will come up with something that just like like I'll come up with like a lyrical idea that will spark the rest of the song. And open
Mhm.
up, I kind of talked about a little bit earlier, but that opening line, I really do like the opening lines of Open Up. I never thought I'd say it, nor would the day come when you'd open up the floodgates, let your secrets come undone. Like
Mhm.
I really, really love just how those words string together. Like they just kind of roll off the tongue naturally to me, and I think I don't know, there's something cool about that to me when words just sound like they fit together, and it makes me want to write even more. Um,
Mhm.
and so I really like that. Um, um, I sorry, I'm like reading my stuff right now. This
It's okay.
is I'm just trying to think of what else specifically sticks out. Healing Song I think has some cool stuff in there. Like you said, like I like that whole ending section of just like the maybe this time I'll heal and gleam from
Mhm.
the surface and stuff like that. Just I think it sums up the themes of that song a lot, just throughout that whole ending part. Like the "No, I can't keep egging on a self-fulfilling prophecy." I think is a cool line. I like that
Mhm.
one. Oh, I like kind of the whole like the dichotomy I have in there of healing and sinking. Um,
Yes.
you know, I think especially in the beginning part, the I can feel myself healing, honing in my skin in real time. Like that's another
Mhm.
thing to me that's like kind of a kind of like trippy imagery or so. Just
Yeah.
like being hyper aware of the whole situation and like, am I getting better? Am I getting better? Am I getting, like thinking of it like that, like is not healthy at all. And, but like, being aware of like, oh, suddenly I don't feel this way. I feel strange that I don't feel this way anymore. Like, it's like a strange thing for me. I don't know how to describe it, but like, I think actually I do know how to describe it because I think the way I put it in the lyrics, honing in my skin in real time is like, I don't know. I think that's a really cool
Yeah.
way of describing that weird, trippy feeling. Um, I like also that I got to fit like words like ruminating, overthinking in that song,
Mhm.
and like a pattern. I didn't really even realize this until I typed out the lyrics for you to send them to you. In a
Mhm.
pattern, there's just one line that's just recontextualized, and like that it's just the word recontextualized, but it's like a
Yeah.
huge word, and it like makes up the entire line. And like I was
Yeah.
like, that just looks sick all on its own for some reason.
It does. Yeah.
um, and then of course I've been in a rut is a much more lyrical. I mean, all the songs are lyrically focused in a way, but there's a lot of lyrics in this one. um and yeah, I don't know, there's a lot of lines that like to me they just have that natural sounding, like I was talking about with Open Up, that just they feel like they sound well together. Like, what a twist of fate, writing endless nonsense. Like I
Mhm.
really like just having that as a lyric. Like it just doesn't feel like anything else in my lyrics. So I like that. Um, and then like that whole bridge section in there too, I absolutely love. That's my
Yeah.
favorite part. The if I could, I'd stay up all night playing piano under lamplight, summoning a song or two. Kind of somewhat a reference to the coping mechanism album art. But that's also just
Mhm.
a way that I love playing piano. That's why I put that as the album art is, whenever I
Mhm.
have the house to myself, I can turn the lights off and then just turn on that lamp and play piano, and it's like it's my own little world right there. I
Yeah.
really enjoy doing that, and I like being able to reflect that in the lyrics too. And then, you know, and then immediately, pulling away from that with a misdirection of mine, and stuff like that. And then the whole "I've been digging my own grave while humming a tune," depressing as hell, but I really do love
Yeah.
love
Great
that.
imagery.
Yeah, I love that part of it as well. So yeah, there's a lot of lyrical stuff that I love. I was just trying to think of like the main
Mhm.
highlights of stuff that sticks out to me. But yeah, good question.
Yeah, I appreciate the use of iota in
Oh
Healing
yeah,
Song.
that's another one too.
And
Yeah,
also,
I don't think I've
I'm
heard of.
breaking down the system
Oh,
from
sorry.
which I feed parasitic heartbeats. Love that.
Yeah,
But
that's a good one too. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, that's one where it's like, I wrote that one and I was like, does this sound cringe? And I'm like, maybe a little bit, but I think the words work well together.
yeah,
I think it sounds cool.
yeah, it
But
does. Yeah,
yeah,
but
yeah,
yeah,
and
very
I
cool.
was just saying that I'm not sure if I've heard anyone use iota in a song before. The more I think
I
about it,
can't think
but
of one either.
yeah,
So
so yeah, I
yeah,
like that one too.
yeah, very cool. And then were there any other working names for the tracks or even the EP?
Mm. Yeah, yeah. For the EP, definitely. I kind of struggled for a while with a name for it. Because unlike I don't remember when in the process coping mechanism got its name, but it was like before I wrote um oh my god, the last song on that album, which it it's my own album. I can't be talking like this. Our Future, Jesus Christ.
Yes, yes, yes.
The last song on the it was I had the name Mechanism before that because I name drop it at the end of that song. And I do
Mhm.
remember chicken and the egg situation. The album name came first on that one. Um, and I was thinking of kind of doing the opposite on this one. I was thinking of pulling some lyrics from "I've Been in a Rut" for the EP name. Um, like I remember "Breaking Myself the News" was one I had as an idea, just because like I think that
Mhm.
sounds cool, and then like having the context of that in the song would be nice. While humming a tune was also one that I thought for a little
Mhm.
bit. Um, uh, which would be interesting because if you abbreviate that one, it just becomes what. Um,
I like that.
yeah.
So,
um, um, I think that one was one for a little bit. But then yeah, cyclicism was just kind of like um, a word that I don't want to say I thought of. I mean, I did in some ways, but it is an existing word.
mhm.
And it was one that when I realized a lot of the themes of these songs were like dealing in the cycles of mental health and things returning and coming back that I thought I had fixed or whatever, that being like a main theme on pretty much all of these tracks.
Mhm.
And the cyclic nature of that. And then I was like, oh, what if I just make the word cyclicism or something like that? I was like, there's a lot of C's in there. That's hard to spell. But it's kind of cool. And then I looked it up, and it was an actual thing. And like when you look it up, it like refers you to like a music theory type of thing because there is
Mhm.
a thing in music theory called cyclic form, which I'm not going to get into. But like it's like referring to that apparently. But I was like, well, it also just refers to cycles, and that's kind of what I'm talking about. So
Mhm.
then that's how that name came apart. How that name came apart? What came into play? I don't know what happened there. Brain fart. But in terms of the song names, I don't. I'm pretty sure everything had a name. I've been in a rut actually was one that kind of struggled with a name for a bit. Trying to think
Mhm.
of a name for that one. Um, because I mean I think I always kind of had in the back of my head that like, oh, what if I just call this "I've Been in a Rut." I think that works and sums up the themes of the song. But then like there was a lot of uh just internal debates if I wanted to do that or not, or make it something a little bit more, I guess, artsier. But I was like, well, no, I think a lot of the song, it kind of, I mean, the song is artsy, but like it also speaks for itself, like kind of bluntly in the lyrics. And I think just having a little bit of a blunt title and one that breaks the quote unquote convention of every track being two words. I
Mhm.
think it kind of makes it stick out a little bit more, which I want it to stick out a little bit more. That's kind of the purpose of that track in some ways, I guess. I don't know.
Mhm.
But I think yeah, I'm pretty sure those are the only moments where like the names of stuff was up in the air. But yeah,
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 cool. I like hearing that kind of just like the BTS of that whole process for people.
of
So,
course. Yeah, at the end of the
Yeah.
day, it's just I settle on what feels right. But like there are just working titles sometimes. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, when you are creative and working on something like that, you really do understand when people are like, oh, well, the working title to this was blah blah blah, whatever. Because
Yeah.
it is just like it's one of those things that you sit with for a little bit. And it's like, yeah, I really like the name of that. Like people will be like, before you get a tattoo, have it up on your wall for a year and see if you still like it or something like that.
Mm.
So kind of a similar thing. Just put down a title, and if it's still speaking to you, then keep it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, well, speaking on the cycles and the cyclicism as you were
Yeah.
talking about, heartbreak and grief
Mm.
very much act like that, a cycle.
Mm-hmm.
You explore that throughout this and throughout coping mechanism as
Right.
processed your whole breakup, your first big
Mm.
relationship and everything. Um, like years removed from that, like is writing about it still and like just processing it through music, is that like how's the healing process? Is it getting easier? Is it harder now or like
Yeah. I mean, a lot of I do want to say because I know this is an easy thing to, especially with just the released music I have. It's easy
Mhm,
to kind of connect the dots. The only song that's like 100% about that past
mhm,
relationship is Open Up. Like there are elements of that in other songs on here too, but I do think that this project I intended to focus more on the mental health aspects,
mhm,
rather, and then there are things where those two things overlap, of course.
yeah,
But I do feel like at least for me, the way I see this project and how I've always seen this project is that it's more focused on the mental health aspects
yeah.
rather than, oh, she's not with me still, or something like that.
Yeah.
Which I don't think any song is like that. That's just me
No.
being whatever. But um it was oh my gosh, I'm blanking. What was the question? I'm sorry.
Just like, is this does this help with your like
Oh
healing
yeah.
process and also like, mental
Oh
health issues?
yeah, 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 totally. I mean, that's one of the main reasons I make a project like this is because it helps me process things like I mean, I think a lot of times when people go to therapy and stuff like that, they'll their therapist will recommend them to write stuff down and stuff like that, and like I have no
Mhm,
issue doing that whatsoever. Like that's just kind of, I don't know, like I think in some ways it like, I mean, obviously, it all still comes from my own perspective, but like putting these, when I'm having some mental health issues, putting them into like poetry and lyrics in like ways that have imagery and like it's like kind of looking at it through another light and like fully processing like how I want to represent these things versus how I don't want to
mhm,
represent them. It does kind of tell me a bit of, uh, you know, I don't want to say like what the issue is because obviously that's a deeper problem or whatever. But like it just helps me process it. It helps me
mhm,
look at it through a new lens, even though it's from my own writing. It helps me like solidify, I guess, my feelings on that kind of stuff. Um, and it helps. I wouldn't say it completely heals or anything like that. But it does help me understand it better and I guess talk about it a little bit better when I put these stuff into songs. I'm
mhm,
not I don't like to think that I'm like this depressing fuck all the time, um, I know all my music basically tends to be that way, but hey, I have the name Plaintive. But
yeah,
I do, I don't know. I think it just helps me to put that stuff into art and lyrics and poetry and whatever.
mhm.
And Yeah, self-expression. It helps in ways. Yeah, I
Yeah.
guess the best way to put it. But also it's one of the themes of this EP. The healing cycle isn't just like this straightforward thing. It's like this. It's a bit of a jagged journey. It
Mhm.
has ups and downs. And it goes through places. So yeah.
Yeah. Very true.
Yeah.
Um, cool. I was wondering, I talked about influences on the last
Mm.
album as well. I heard, Radiohead at times and other people, but I was wondering who were maybe some influences you had this time around. I know you mentioned Magdalena Bay a little
Yeah.
while ago, but personally, I see like Rex at points. I see
Mm-hmm.
Radiohead, and like from a synth level, like even Tame Impala. I
Oh,
see,
really? Interesting.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
especially
Yeah.
in that like boom, boom,
Yeah,
that kind
that's
of whole
okay.
thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah. Um, well, once again, I said this last time, but like, I'd love to hear when people say influence stuff because I don't consciously think of those things when I'm writing
Mhm.
songs. So I like hearing it after the thought. I do remember there was a time, this feels like it was a long time ago now, but I think it was like beginning of last year. Me, you, and John were hanging out, doing something. And
Mhm.
like you guys had, I mentioned that I was working on 5 songs on an EP, and I think I don't know if one of you asked me influences or whatever, but like I talked about it anyways. But uh, there were a couple that like I was a little conscious of when writing.
Mhm.
Open up. I was listening to a lot of that. This is gonna date the song. I was listening to a lot of that Sufjan Stevens album, the Javelin
Mhm.
record, when that came out, and I do think I don't know how much it comes through in the final product, but like some of my intentions with that track, with the 5/4 actually was kind of part of that too. The time signature was a little
Mhm.
bit of that because I liked the way he just kind of did that on that album. He just like wrote some nice songs in 5, and like it wasn't like a huge deal. I'm like, that's cool. I want to do something like that. But also I think I tried to kind of make my vocals a little bit like that, at least in the first part of it. Like kind of it was supposed to be soft, Sufjan-ish type
Mhm.
vocals. I don't entirely know how much that translates in the final product, but that was some of the intention for those vocals. And just I guess kind of the whole buildup of that track in some ways was a little like Javelin in some ways. Um,
Cool.
and then another thing is I've been in a rut. I was listening to a lot of Leve around that time. I was really
Uh,
getting into Leve around the time that song was written. And I guess that's another thing I should point out. A lot of these songs were written a while ago. I've been in a rut. I know closes the album, but I think that was written maybe coming up on 3 years here. Was it?
Jeez.
Was it that long ago? Yeah, I think it was fall of 22. Um,
Damn.
or fall of, no, maybe it was fall. I don't know. I'd have to look back at the logs. But it's been a while. Um, yeah, it was fall of 22. Yeah, because that's around when I got the guitar, and
Uh,
that was, or no, because 22 is when I released the album. No, fall of 23 for sure. So I'm coming up around
uh,
2 years. 2 years. All right.
that
Final
makes sense.
answer.
That's around when Bewitched came out. So.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Jesus. But final answer though, I swear. But anyways, yes, I was listening to a lot of Leve around that time, and I think on that song in particular that really inspired the chord choices. There's some really jazzy chord progression type stuff on there. But done in like a non-jazzy way. I feel like I don't listen to I've Been in a Rut. I'm like, ooh, that's jazzy. It's just done in like a rich chord progression type of way. Um, and Yeah, ironically, that song started off on piano, but it became more guitar driven as I got the guitar, and I'm like, I want to learn these chords on guitar. um, but Yeah, so Leve was an influence on like at least the chord progression of that song, which is a big part of it. Um, but other than that, though, I mean, I can't think of much off the top of my head. I just kind of like I said, I just kind of write the songs and the influences subconsciously come to me.
Yeah.
Occasionally I'll just, sometimes I'll start writing a little thing and then I'm like, oh, that's literally just this already existing song. um, um, and I get very nervous sometimes that like I do that and I know I don't catch it. But
Uh-huh.
I don't. As far as I know, none of these songs are straight up plagiarism. So,
No, no.
but yeah,
I feel like that's a thing that artists struggle with
yeah,
all the time. Though it's like they start writing something and they realize, oh shit, that's fucking that's Mozart.
Right. Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
but
I think
yeah, there was
I had one the other day for like just a song that I was writing a little. I'm trying to think of what song it was, but like it was one of those moments where I was just like, oh, that's literally just I don't even remember what song it was now. Whatever. But what were you saying?
no, yeah. There was like one kind of thing that like there's a way in which you sing like, oh, I've been in a rut these days,
Hmm.
that reminds me very much of the way in which from the Disney Hercules movie, the animated one,
Okay.
from I can go go the distance.
Oh yeah.
He goes like, every mile will be worth my while. It just the way in which you sing that one of the times or all of them, I think,
Uh huh.
I was like, oh, that's good. It was like a weird uh tie that I had between those two, but
Yeah. I said
yeah.
oh because I thought I knew that song, but I don't think I do. So that's just a happy coincidence there.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with her. I mean, I think I saw it once in school. They showed us in school for some reason. But uh, yeah, I'm not
One of my
familiar.
faves.
Yeah.
It's a great one. Great music in that one. But yeah, that's very cool. Love to hear that.
Yeah.
And then just a couple more questions
Of
here.
course.
I was wondering, when it comes to like writing and like what, any like aspirations you have for the future of your music,
Mm.
like what would you like consider doing like a full, because coping mechanism is kind of a concept,
Hmm.
and I was wondering like in terms of like a story, would you like want to create a story, um kind of not like fully based off of or anything, but like reminiscent of like other artists like 21 Pilots, for
Hmm.
example? Like would you create like a narrative for your music? I know that's like a lot to do, but is that something that would be
Yeah. I mean that's something that's cool to me. Honestly, at the moment, it's something that I don't really want to do just because like I was kind of talking about at the beginning of the interview.
Mhm.
One of the goals with this EP was to make things a little more digestible and a little less
Right.
conceptual. Because I would argue that I mean coping mechanism, yeah, I would argue that is a concept album just because
Yeah.
of, the way it was written, I think is kind of integral to how you listen to it. But, if I'm just trying to promote that to random people who don't know me or anything like that, it is a little harder to sell something like that.
Right.
And not physically money, but just like a sales pitch.
Yeah.
It's harder to do that
Get
when you
people on
don't
board.
yeah, when you don't know me and how I am in person and stuff like that. It is a little harder to do that kind of stuff. But so like at the moment, I do think I kind of want to stray a little bit away from
Hmm.
concepts like that. But like at heart, I am a writer. Like I'm not sure if you know this actually, but for a long time, like up until like I think eighth grade or so, I
Hmm.
was like I did legitimately love writing. Like I would write my own books and like stories and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And I think I finished like two of them, and they were like long stories. Like it wasn't
Yeah.
just like some I mean it probably was like cringy middle school stuff, but it was long. It was
Yeah.
fleshed out, the whole idea. So like I think like at heart I do have a love for those kind of things. I also love like puzzles and like putting together a story through music is something that intrigues me in doing. I
Mhm.
think just like logistically I don't have the aspirations for that at the moment.
Mhm.
But you know, if maybe if the music were to pop off in a significant way or something, I might have more aspirations of going into that route at some point. Just maybe not in the immediate future, but
Cool.
yeah.
Yeah. Uh, I also have that kind of past to me where I was very into writing back in like elementary school and middle school and stuff, and I've
Yeah.
even recently I've been like wanting to get back into it, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I in elementary school I remember we had like a creative writing assignment or something, and I made a children's book that was like
Yeah.
it was like the Mighty Cheese and his sidekick Gouda.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I made like a whole line of those for myself back then. So it's like, uh, we got that in common,
That's awesome. Ironically, it was a children's book that made me not like writing anymore.
Mm.
we were like forced to write a children's book in like 8th grade, and I
uh,
absolutely hated it because I felt like I was dumbing myself down and I didn't like it.
damn.
Yeah.
Wow.
Anyways, side note.
Well, that's cool though.
Yeah.
Learning new things about my buddy here.
Yeah.
I just wonder what your favorite track on the EP is. What's your favorite?
Uh, it definitely goes between either I've Been in a Rut or Open Up. I
Mm.
think I this will probably be a pattern once again, no pun intended. I'm having this same issue because I had the same thing when I named a song Honest last time, and I realized I do a lot. I do go honestly. I say that a lot. Anyways,
Yeah.
it's probably going to be a recurring theme on whatever projects I release in the future. That the opening tracks and closing tracks will be some of my favorites, just because
Mhm.
I don't know. I guess because of how much album listening that I do. I know you do as well, but just for me personally, I do a lot of album listening, and I think those things are very integral to a project. A really strong opening and a really strong closing. I think
Mm.
first impressions and last impressions are really good for people who want to keep listening to a record,
Yeah.
and like spin it over and over and over again. So just selfishly, that's kind of how I lay out a lot of the stuff. So yeah, Open Up and I've Been in a Rut are definitely both really up there for me. Open Up
Mhm.
is kind of for a specific reason though. I'm not sure if I think you did see the post, but I put it on my Instagram kind of talking about that song a little bit. Um,
Uh,
and a lot of my usual writing process um, is me having these lyrics and then figuring it out on piano and then just kind of marinating with that idea for months, sometimes years, until I like marinating with them, like thinking of like how I want to produce this, and then finally actually producing it months slash years down the line.
mhm.
Um, and I think there's some benefits to that. I think it is nice to be able to kind of fully flesh out a track like that in my head and figure out exactly what I want. But there's also some downsides, aka it takes a lot of time to do that. And Open Up was kind of the exception to that. It was really in the moment, a spur of the moment track. Like I was feeling these really strong feelings due to what I'm talking about in the lyrics,
Mhm.
and it was a lot of conflicting, bittersweet emotions happening all at once. And I was like, let's make a song. I came up with those opening lyrics, and then I was like, all right, let's make this a song. So instead of the entire process taking over a year to create, like a lot of my tracks have at this point, even on this EP. Open Up was from like the moment it was first written to like the moment I was basically done producing it was like probably about a month, which is completely different for me.
Mhm.
And because of that, by the time I'm actually recording and producing it, I'm not putting on an acting performance, right? I'm not like trying to rekindle these feelings so that I can properly represent them in the recorded song. Um, it's like no, like those are genuine emotional vocal takes that I'm taking in there.
Yeah.
Every synth choice that I choose in there, it's like one that I had with that emotional state. It's like everything is perfectly um, in line with those emotions I was feeling at that time. So to me,
Mhm.
I listen to that song and I'm like, I'm not acting. That's just like literally a snapshot of a moment in time to me, which I think is really cool. Um,
Yeah.
and I really like that about that. And then I've Been in a Rut. I'm not sure if you remember this because it was a long time ago. But I did mention on the podcast at one point, probably when I was talking about my week,
Mhm.
that I thought I had just written the best song that I've ever written to date.
Uh,
I was talking about
mhm.
that on pod. And I was talking about I've Been in a Rut at that point. And
Oh,
I do still kind of agree with that. I think to me, there's just something about the, like, I guess the vulnerability and honesty in those lyrics mixed with, like I said, that those chord progressions. I really love the chord progression on there too. It's probably the most subtly complicated one that I've written to date. Like it does, maybe it doesn't sound too complicated, but then like if I were to show you the actual chords to it, it'd be like, oh, there's a lot of extra stuff happening there. But yeah, I don't know, it's a mix of those, and then like the melody of it too. I really love the melody on that track, and then the huge bridge, and then just, it's a depressing song, and it's not a mindset that I'm in anymore, despite just releasing it today. Like I said, it was written almost 2 years ago at this point. But I don't know, like it's just kind of everything that I wanted it to me. I wanted it to be. And I
Yeah.
think the drum production I think sounds great on it too. To pat myself on the back on that one, I think that's some of the best my drums have ever sounded. All electronic again. I remember telling, because when I was showing you guys the songs, John, I don't remember exactly what he said, but he alluded to like me having a real drummer for that track or something, and I was like, nope, that's all electronic. But that makes me happy that someone thinks that those are real drums on there, because that's always kind of been the goal.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It is a long song, and I was trying not to write long songs for the accessibility reason on here.
Mhm.
But I think all the layers and the way that song kind of progresses is just really cool, and something that I love a lot. So yeah, it's probably a toss up between those two tracks. I mean, I love all the songs
Mhm.
on here equally, but I do have some favorite children. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I also think that I've Been in Red is my favorite
Mm,
out of the five. I also really love Healing Song. I love
yeah.
but as you said, as you also said, I love all of them. I love all the songs that you've made as
Thanks.
Plaintive. It's been great to see you, you know, grow and develop as a musician,
Mm,
and just release all this like really cool stuff. And just like
yeah.
you know, I was like promoting the record a bit on my socials just to get some more eyes on it.
Mm,
Um, like I don't have mostly the people that you have on your
right.
on your
Hey,
socials
you
looking at
have
it
some
as
more
you.
specific people, yeah.
That is true,
Yeah.
but it's just I'm just I'm proud of my friend. I'm proud of you
Yeah.
for going out there and making this music and being vulnerable with the way you write and everything. It's really cool to see.
Yeah. Thank you.
Um,
And I
of course.
appreciate you, even if you get to promo it before I do, because I'm driving home from work. I still thank you for for all of that, and all that you do with
Yeah,
support and all that.
n- number one fan. So,
Yeah, exactly.
uh, but
I'll once
um,
again bring up number one fan alongside my mom,
yeah.
and
Well,
don't make me choose.
one bird with you,
Yeah,
one one kisses you a lot.
yeah.
So,
Who's who? Yeah.
but
Um,
but I know this CP took a couple years
yeah.
to get out there, but last question here. What do you think's next for Plaintive?
Uh, Next plaintive. Well, there is, yeah, this one did take a while, but if you couldn't tell from some of the lyrics, a lot of that was some mental health based stuff.
Yes.
There was a lot of things going on that kind of made me obsess a bit over this EP for a while.
Mhm.
But next, I think I kind of do. I'm not entirely sure what the next project looks like if I want to do another album, or if I want to kind
Mhm.
of continue in this EP route, or maybe even just kind of do singles and stuff. But I think just like creatively, and I like a passion I've been having as of late, is I think I just kind of and this is gonna sound probably ridiculous to anyone who's not that much of a creative, but I think I'm just going to create things when I have the idea to do so.
Mhm. Mhm.
Like, I know that sounds ridiculous from the outside, but like I think like because a lot of times I'll have these like small musical ideas and I'll get really passionate about them for like a few days, and I'll make like a note to myself, like a voice note, and I have like probably about 100 of those at this point, just like just sitting in my phone, waiting to be something to be done with them. And I think I kind of want to just when I have those ideas, I just kind of want to start fleshing it out immediately. I'm not gonna let it sit and marinate as much. I didn't really
Mhm.
talk about it as much, but that's kind of how Healing Song came about. Was because originally, if you remember the original idea for this EP, it was going to be 5 tracks still, but the middle track was going to be my cover of Jubilee Line
Oh yeah,
by a certain someone. And then that certain someone, uh, you know,
bit some people.
yeah, yeah, he bit off more than he could chew.
Hey.
And, so then I canned that idea, and I needed something else to fit that middle track. So Healing Song was kind of written in that way, like it was written just like pretty much completely in Ableton, rather than me having it on piano and in my head for months. It was like, all right, let's write the song completely in the DAW, and just take me where the wind blows me for that track. So I kind of want to do some more things in a way like that. Maybe not as like segmented as that track
Mhm.
gets, but like just when I have an idea, start producing it. Start working on instruments for it. Just start having little ideas in Ableton rather than in my notes app. um, uh, so yeah, I don't know exactly what I mean. I there's a lot of I think I'm working on tracks at the moment that like will be released, which is different than it was for this time when I had finished Coping Mechanism. After Coping
Mhm.
Mechanism, I kind of was having a bit of writer's block for a while, until I was able to flesh out some ideas again. But this time around, I do have things I'm actively working on that like probably will see the light of day. So sound wise, I don't know, maybe a little folkier. I'm not
Ooh.
sure. Possibly. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting of some of the stuff I'm working on. But yeah, maybe me trying a little bit more with real instruments, and maybe trying,
Mhm.
you know, doing my best with some of that stuff. I don't know. We'll see when it comes to the sound. But that's gonna be the writing process. Hopefully.
Sick.
Uh, yeah.
Well, whatever it is, I'm excited to hear whatever comes next. But for now, everybody go check out Cyclicism by Plaintive as well
Yeah.
as Coping Mechanism. Catch up on all that lore.
Yeah.
Um, Thank you again for coming on the show
Of
one final
course.
time.
Thank you for having me.
Uh,
And maybe next time your other co-host will show his cowardly little face.
I mean, we'll see, but he has a problem with meeting celebrities, so
Yeah,
it's like
true.
he gets a little. We went to Hive Mind
Uh-huh.
last year, and he was like kind of standing in the corner facing it,
Mm.
and just like not really interacting with anybody, even though we bought the meet and greet pass.
Mm.
Um, so we'll see,
Yeah,
but
that checks out for
uh,
that guy. Yeah.
yeah, I wouldn't count on it though.
Yeah. Okay.
This is late night with Colin after all, but
That's true. Yeah.
go check out Plaintive. Links will be in the description. Thank you again for coming on. Thank you again for coming out, everybody. And we'll yeah, thanks.
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 Bye-bye.
Bye bye.